Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to our Thursday tea and toast session. Hope you are all doing well this morning. I'm Jasmin. I'm a conversation starter at the Yards. I'm sure you've seen me on many of these before. Let's just have a quick introduction of who we've got joining us this morning. So we've got Georgia, who is also a conversation. I can't speak this morning. I need to put my teeth in. A conversation starter at the Yard with me. Good morning, Georgia. How are you?
I'm brilliant today, Jazz. Well, actually, no, that's a lie.
I was just going to say.
No, I'm not. So I'm on antibiotics at the moment, so I'm like a little bit like sleepy. So I think if I was the weather, I'd be like a sunny day, but like a few clouds, like just drowsy clouds that are just like going around. So yeah, how are you, Jasmine?
Good. I was just saying before we went live, I'm feeling really tired today as well. I've had a really early start on a Thursday morning, and I just think the weather at the minute's making me feel a bit, the rain and everything. It's just all a bit depressing. I need some sunshine. We need a bit of good weather to make us all feel a bit happier again, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, right. We've also got Zan. Good morning, Zan.
Hello, I'm feeling alive and I brought my lucky ceramic duck.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Of course.
As you do.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't have a lucky ceramic duck?
This is my other lucky ceramic duck. We'd be here all day.
Are you
Oh, you cut out.
Oh, are you into ducks? Is that your thing? Do you collect ducks?
Yeah, it's sort of a long story.
Okay. Perhaps, well, maybe when we're running out of things to talk about, we'll touch on that later. But it's your first tea and toast with us this morning, isn't it, Zan? So Zan is doing some volunteering down at the Yard with us. So we are really, really pleased to have you with us this morning. Looking forward to having a chat with you about all the things we're going to speak about this morning. And then we've got Ronnie. So if anyone was watching yesterday, Ronnie is all the way in India. So Ronnie's just had his lunch. It's afternoon there, isn't it, Ronnie?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm feeling alive as well. And my favorite bird is penguin. Sorry, favorite animal.
Your favorite animal?
And
that's a topic for discussion later on.
Okay. It looks like we're going to be having a discussion about animals in a bit. I'm not sure quite how that's turned around already.
But it'll be very organic.
Yeah, absolutely. And also we've got the lovely Gemma from the Hope Group who has joined us this morning. Morning, Gemma.
Morning. I didn't realise we had to bring our favourite animal, but I have got some very strange pets, so we can talk about that later maybe.
Oh, amazing. This is taking quite the turn this morning. I love it, Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. So how we're going to kick off today's session is we're going to hand over to Gemma, and she's going to tell us all about the work that the Hope Group do. And if you're watching, have got any questions, pop them in the comments. And I'm sure some of us at the team will have some questions for you, Gemma. So over to you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm the Skills and Employability Lead at the Hope Centre. So I manage the Learning for Living service. Which is quite a big service. It sort of focuses on supporting people into employment, volunteering, training or education. But also the wider sort of Learning for Living supports people with meaningful activities. So it could be things like cookery classes, art classes, music, and lots of other activities really. So we've got for a small charity, it's got a lot going on, to be fair, but I manage that one particular service. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the employability service. So we can kind of help people with CV writing, job search skills, interview skills. We have lots of other support groups and training courses that people can get involved in, whatever they kind of need really. We kind of have one-to-one sessions, training courses and support groups. So we kind of tailor the approach to the people that need our help really. The other things we do, as I say, with the Learning for Living, unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to stop some of our activities, some of our face-to-face activities, but they're coming back now. So that's exciting. So we've got in the planning is cookery classes.
Amazing.
Get some art classes and hopefully some good sort of art sessions going in the community basically. So they're the ones in the planning, but we're absolutely open to any ideas. So if there's anyone out there who has any, ideas of what sort of courses we can do to support our service users, then we're happy to look into planning that locally. So that's us really in relation to the employability service and learning for living. But because we have a number of social enterprises, we have the opportunity to give people experience within those social enterprises, so they can find out if they want to do that as volunteering, or they want to do that as something they want to go into as a job. But also we have the opportunity to get funding to do qualifications in those areas.
Brilliant.
So we've got at the moment that's up and running is our warehouse, and that basically stocks up all of our food produce for our food club. And you can become a member of our food club. So if you're on benefits and you're struggling, then you can join. There's a few food clubs around Northampton, and you just pay a small fee and you go every week, and can get quite a large amount of food for that. So you can do some sort of volunteering or work placements within the warehouse and food club. And also we have the charity shop. So you can do customer service retail. We have the allotment, so we can do horticultural courses, landscaping, landscape gardening. And we're looking at getting back some of the other social enterprises, such as our Hope Tools and painting and decorating. So they kind of all link, because our gardening project grows produce for our food club, that obviously is distributed through the warehouse and the food club. And then we have Hope Tools that refurbs gardening tools for the gardening to grow the food. So it's kind of linked to the chain.
It's all linked, yeah.
And we use those social enterprises to help people to get employment, basically.
So it's all interconnected to each other. It's all interconnected to each other, and it's embedded to the roots of the community, which is a good thing. And so you are giving vocational trainings, you are giving people some life experiences which are going to help them when they go to the real world outside. And then also through gardening and all that stuff, I think this is gonna give a big opportunity to nurture nature, so that they can even plant some either vegetables, or they can plant some flower trees, some fruit trees, and all that stuff. It is truly heart-rendering. It is really good. It's a really good thing,
Sounds great, doesn't it, Ronnie?
Yes,
great project.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, Zan, did you want to ask something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, it's like it's self-sustaining, isn't it? Which is like really fantastic.
Yeah, and it's linked to, I mean, it's a community project. It was set up, the Hope Centre was set up in like the 1970s to support homelessness, but it's expanded into supporting the community and reducing food poverty. So as I say, it's sustainable, it's linking everything together to support the community. Basically.
I mean, I had no idea that you guys did that sort of thing at the Hope Centre, and I think perhaps for me, when I think of the Hope Centre, I just think of the work you do with helping the homeless, and actually from just what you've told us, there's so much more that goes on there, which is amazing. So someone's watching, or we have people come into our building who would like to perhaps get involved in one of your courses. How does someone go about that? What do they need to do to perhaps access that?
So they can contact us directly through the employability service. So if it's Learning for Living Employability, they contact us directly. Is it worth me just giving you the details afterwards to share?
Yeah, we'll share them on our
absolutely. That'd be great.
Sure. But for organisations, they can refer people online. So if it's a partner organisation and they have someone that they want to refer to our services, they just complete a form online.
Okay. And so what's the criteria then for someone if they're wanting to get involved in one of those courses? Do they need to, hit certain criteria to? No,
just anyone who wants support with for the employability service. for our arts and crafts activities and stuff. Anyone who wants to get involved, really, it's a community based. We don't have any criteria.
Oh, that's brilliant. Excellent. Georgia, you got anything you'd like to ask Gemma?
Yeah, so other organization, like, do you have a kind of like a network so you can kind of refer people and get referred to and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, because the Hope Centre's been going for such a long time, I'm quite new to the Hope Centre, and I've worked for small charities before, but the Hope Centre is very interconnected and quite large for a local charity, and they've built quite a lot of partnerships. So we have a lot of referral agencies in, even from local authority, job centre, that sort of thing. But also we have lots of links with local businesses that provide opportunities to do work placement. So if we don't have a work placement that's suitable for people, there's a number of local organisations that are willing to support people for work experience as well.
Whereabouts are you then in Northampton?
So we're Ash Street. It's around Campbell Street, Campbell Square area. It's just around the back.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly where you mean now. Yeah, and I guess you were just saying about how, you know, things have had to change because of COVID, and so many different organisations we've had on. We've had the discussion that it's been we've all had to really find new ways how to work, haven't we, in the pandemic? And it's, as you said, some of your sort of on face-to-face stuff is starting to happen again now, and it sort of feels like, so at the yard we are starting to be able to have people into our building in June, and it's sort of starting to feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? Because I guess for a lot of smaller organisations, and I know although the Hope Centre is larger, the pandemic's really had a knock-on effect, hasn't it, on charities and things like that. It's been hard work, so it's great to hear that things are hopefully starting to, you know, get back on track. Zan, have you got anything you'd like to ask Gemma?
Yes. One thing I was quite curious about is with the allotment and growing all the food and stuff, whether you would then be putting that food into the food things that you're giving to people.
Yeah, that's the plan. So we basically provide fresh fruit and veg for the food parcels. So it's not just tins and pasta. There's a good amount of seasonal veg as well.
Yeah, oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, sounds like you guys are doing a great work down there. Is it a big team of people, or?
No, well, it never is it, with the voluntary sector? It's not a big team of people, but we rely heavily on volunteers as well to support us.
That's good. And do you a lot of?
We are looking for volunteers as well in, for example, the shop and the allotment.
Okay, yes, I was literally just going to say, do you get many people volunteering? And yeah, okay, so you are. That's a shout out there. And if you fancy, you know, you've got a bit of spare time and you fancy doing some volunteering, the Hope Centre are looking for people. So I think George has literally just put up in the comments the website address, the telephone number. So get in touch, because there's room for some volunteers to come and join you guys. That's fantastic. I haven't got any more questions. Does anyone else?
Not personally, no.
Ronnie?
I have a question. So if you're trying to improve the employability of a place, so say if some person gets a job, and regarding placements, the thing is regarding placements. So if a person, say he has good credibility, if he has a good resume, he builds a good CV, and then he goes to some place like Essex or in the southern regions, south of England. So is there, I mean, does the organization have reach throughout the whole country? That is, so I think it will be beneficial for the group and for people, so that the reach becomes extended, like people from all over the country can come to the community hope group and also the community yard. They are going to feel more comfortable. See, if I was there in UK and I was, from UK right now, what would I look for? Like if my house was in Wessex or say any southern parts, but I am a volunteer from the southern Englands or the Isles in the north. So I want to be part of the group more actively right now. I can't help much from India, but if I was there, I'm just imagining a scenario, that's all. I'm just
Yeah.
imagining everything in my mind, like what are the probabilities
So
and
how do people get
possibilities.
involved, kind of
Yes,
thing?
how do people
Yes.
get more involved in it? Because it's a good thing, getting involved in something good didn't hurt anyone,
I mean,
doesn't
how do
hurt
people,
anyone. How
Ronnie,
do
do you mean how do people get involved if they live in a different part of the country?
Yes, definitely,
Well, I
definitely.
mean, I'm guessing in different areas of the country, there's different various organisations and charities going on. I'd imagine, for example, I think did you mention Sussex? So I'd imagine there'd be
Yes,
organisations
yes,
doing a similar
yes,
thing.
yes. Because
Um,
I
I
have
doubt,
certain. I knew some people over there, although they were not involved in such a community, but I was a student of harmonica. So I learned harmonica for a long, long time, both the chromatics and the diatonics. And you might have heard his name, like Liam Ward. If you search it on YouTube, you'll find him, Liam Ward, and he does this. He's from Birmingham, I think. I think he's from Birmingham. So after the COVID thing, everything got shut and the routines and the schedules got rescheduled and all that. All the live shows were cancelled. So he was asking me, as a teacher, he was asking all our students that how can they get more involved in the community work, so that, and I want to pull one thing since Gemma is here. The thing about mental health, although this is not part of the curriculum over here, I'm just pulling it just to cover all the aspects. So, music has a way of soothing things, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Different people have different hobbies. Some like gaming, some like reading books, some want to educate themselves more, and for me it's music. So he was asking me from Birmingham, so how do I get involved? And yesterday after the session I emailed him that I am getting into contact with this beautiful, beautiful little organization, with this beautiful little group where we talk and we share everything more freely. And he said, wow, it's wonderful, Ronnie. It's great that you are showing some interests in the community works. I think you should be doing that from your hometown, since
mm,
there is none over here. That's why I'm saying.
yeah,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so that's why I picked up the topic.
mm,
That's
Right.
the
Yeah.
source.
I
I
get
just
you.
picked the source over there. So
Mm.
hopefully he gets some, some activity, because it was in the winter of 2020.
yeah,
Last when I contacted him before yesterday. It was
yeah.
Mm.
like full snowing outside. The cars are covered in snow. It was very beautiful. After that, I
It
lost
sounds like
contact with him.
you get involved in quite a lot of stuff from over in India. You like to get
Yes,
involved. I mean, you've become involved with the yard here and your
yes,
harmonica. I've not heard of Liam Ward before, but I'll have a Google of him after this session.
yes,
Um,
definitely. You will find him.
yeah,
He
yeah,
and Tomlin Lecky. He and
yeah,
Tomlin Lecky from Scotland. He's from
yeah.
Scotland. They do collaboration every time.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, everyone have a look at that after then and see
and
if we can.
and especially I would like to say this to Zan and Georgia. If you are interested in music, I mean in harmonica, you
Mm.
can look up uh, what is his name, Will
Will
Wild.
We
Wild.
will do. We definitely will
Will
do.
Wild,
It sounds very interesting.
he's a rock harmonica player. He's like a
Wow.
literally a rock star. He
That
has hair
sounds
as long
amazing.
as Zan. I mean, really long
Rock
hair.
harmonica.
I've never heard of a rock harmonica player, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
rock
to check that
harmonica
out.
is like amplified.
Ah,
Wow.
yeah.
Is an endorser of Seidel. Like 3 or 4
Oh.
harmonicas he puts it. I wish I could show you. It's right in here. My dad won't allow it. The keys are with my dad right now. So unfortunately,
Okay, we've all
You've knocked your harmonica away.
yeah. I don't know
Oh,
why.
okay.
If you guys can give me at least 2 minutes, may I take 2 minutes? Is
yeah,
it
sure. We'll just carry on having a chat, and you
Yeah.
can go and do what you need to do. Absolutely. Just
okay?
put you.
All right.
We'll just put you on mute, okay? So we don't.
Okay. All right.
So Ronnie's off to go and get his harmonica. I tell you what, this is the very strangest Thursday I've ever had. We're talking about lucky ducks and pets, and now we're on talking about harmonica
Rock harmonica
sessions.
as well.
Honestly, this is not how I saw my Thursday morning going. So yeah, but yeah, sorry, Gemma, we sort of like got a little bit sidetracked there. Sorry, we went from the Hope Centre to harmonica. I mean, this is only the second session we've had Ronnie join us in. He normally joins us on the chat, and he's really keen to get involved. And we love having him with us. He's got a lot to say, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Sometimes we digress a little bit, so trying to sort of rein it back in. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for joining us and telling us about what you do. It sounds like at the Hope Centre, you do a lot of great stuff, but there's a lot of great stuff to come as well. You've got a lot on the horizon with your new sessions, and sounds great. So yeah, we've put all your details in our chat box so people can contact you if they feel like they fancy getting involved in some of your services you offer. But yeah, that's really great. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I can't see harmonica. He's back. Maybe he wasn't allowed to get it. Are you all right, Ronnie? Oh. I'm not sure if he's about to play us a little number. Oh, he has got it. Got your harmonica?
We can't hear you, Ronnie.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yay! Well done, Ronnie. Good.
These are the basics. These are just the basics. I forgot all the complicated notes and all
you're
that.
a man of many talents, aren't you?
You're a jack of all trades.
You never fail to surprise us. It's brilliant.
Never. Bepe's just put, get in there, Ronnie. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, this is just one of the strangest Thursdays. Very good. I mean, learn us a tune I'll give you 2 weeks. Learn us a better tune, and then you can play.
Definitely.
Yeah?
I'll have to pull all the copies out of harmonica.
Get practicing.
It's been six months. Yeah, I haven't been able to concentrate after all that thing that happened with mom and all that. So just let's leave it. Let's have an upbeat momentum over here. Let's not pull things down.
Definitely.
So
thank you for that, Ronnie. That was brilliant.
It's really good. Thank you.
If one thing, if Zan is interested, there are 2 types. I'm not showing all of it. That's the bigger one, which is called the chromatics, and these are the diatonics. These are the smaller ones where you do all sorts of, like.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sorry for all the commotion. Right, it's fine. Well done.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I think Gemma's probably and I'm not sure what I've let myself in for here. This isn't quite the casual chat that Jasmin said we were going to be having. I think
Gemma's having the time of her life.
Oh, she is.
She's experiencing something new.
Thursday morning.
I mean, she signed up for something else. She was gonna tell everyone what her organization was having, and we are having a little kitty party over here, mixed kitty party.
Go on, Sam, what have we
Okay,
done?
enough of the commotion.
I was going to say, next time, I think you should set a challenge. Billy Joel's Piano Man, the intro with the harmonica. That could be your challenge for next time.
Signing up for online lesson.
He wants for an online lesson. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ronnie. That's really good. But yeah, a couple of weeks' time, we want a different tune, okay?
All right.
And we'll just turn our Thursday morning session into harmonica with Ronnie. I mean, I don't think Georgia and I even need to be here. You can just run the show.
Nah. They are the soul. They are the heart and soul of this. They are the heart and soul. I don't steal anything from them. No. I'm just a guest.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's just move the conversation on slightly, and let's just talk a little about what is going on in the news. Now, I don't know if any of you guys saw this morning, and it's a bit depressing, not to take us on a downer, but apparently the scientists have said this morning that they're not sure if there's going to be a delay to the roadmap of the 21st of June, like all restrictions gone, because of the Indian COVID variant, which has now had a massive surge in the UK. Has anyone else seen this on the news this morning?
I hadn't seen it personally, but I had heard a lot about the Indian variant popping off.
So apparently the scientists are having an emergency meeting today because from what I read this morning, it's Bolton, Greater Manchester, and I think some of London have had a massive surge in this Indian variant, and apparently it's becoming a bit of a concern, which is a bit depressing, because I think we've all been feeling so positive, and obviously with us opening up next week on the 17th, and then it sort of looks like the 21st was definitely going to be a goer, wasn't it? Yeah. For them to hear this, it's but they are saying they are considering perhaps back to the local lockdowns. So if it's more rife in Bolton and Greater Manchester, then perhaps they'll be locked down, not the whole country. But I don't know. It's makes me feel a bit worried again. Or do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, so it's a difficult one, because I think on the one hand I'm like, come on, let's go back to where we can like hug each other and go to the pub or a restaurant together and just kind of hang out and have that time with your friends and family. But then on the other hand, I'm like, well, let's be safe. And so if the scientists turn around and say, okay, we're going to have to do local lockdowns, and we're going to have to do, go back a little bit, if it saves lives, I think it's worth it. What do you think, Zan?
Personally, I think the way it's being managed at the moment, like we all know it's still around, and they're suddenly opening everything up, and I think we're going to end up with a repeat of last time. By the time it's getting to Christmas time, everyone's going to be shut indoors because they've all been going outside because they all want to see their friends. Why don't we all want to see our friends? But we can't remain ignorant to how things are going.
Yeah. And do you think do you foresee that happening? Do you think we will go into another lockdown? Because for conversations I've had with people were that it won't happen again because of now the vaccine and how great the rollout of that has been. They think it's very unlikely that another lockdown to what we've experienced previous will happen again.
I don't know whether it's for definite, but I could definitely see it happening, as although many people have been vaccinated, there's still so many who haven't, and the vaccination still doesn't stop transmission. So if you've been vaccinated, you could still pass it on to someone else.
And I guess the worry as well is with this, I mean, I don't know if anyone does shout, but this new Indian variant, I don't know whether our vaccine works with that. Does anyone else?
I don't believe so, because the way the mutations and like the variants are working is if say you got one person who's got COVID and there's another person who's been vaccinated, if they got COVID from that vaccinated person, like they had a bit left over or whatever, it's seen how they've been vaccinated and what it's done to fight against it, and it changes. That's how it mutates
Right.
and you get the variant, and then that vaccine becomes ineffective. That's why we need a flu jab each year.
Yeah, because it kind of mutates, doesn't it? The actual virus itself. Quite a clever little tyke, isn't it? Because it just figures out what we've done. It goes, ha ha ha! Now I'm going to change and make this.
Yeah, the other thing I saw on the news this morning was that in India, I mean, Ronnie, you'll probably be best to sort of comment on this. In India, there's been a few cases now where someone's just had their second vaccine.
Shots.
And then within a few weeks later, they've died of COVID, despite having the 2 vaccines.
Actually, the brunt of it has been faced by the elderly and the children. I mean, the kids have had to suffer the brunt of it, because if, like, for example, all of us here are adults, so we know how to deal with the situation. And if we have, God forsake, if we, God forbid, if we get that COVID, and during that time, say I have taken the first shot, then I get the virus, then I am quarantined for 14 days, and after that I take the second shot. And as Zan said, if I go to the outside world and if there is some residue of it inside me, and if someone gets it, so the mutation is like this, like the virus is in more of a, what do you call it, dormant. Yes, it is in dormant stage, and it is in a much less active, I mean, the amount of damage that the COVID virus can do from a vaccinated person, I think it will have some different properties and some different biogenetics. Yes, biogenetics, the term, right. Biogenetics are gonna be different than the normal one. So when a viruses are, I don't know whether everyone knows this, but viruses are non-living things. When they are in the air, when they get in contact with our inner body, like saliva, via saliva, or through our nose via mucus membrane, or directly in the blood, then it becomes active. It starts to act like a living organism, and then it starts to act. So when a COVID virus first gets activated inside a living person, it starts to act in its own way, and the body, according to the immunity system, it starts to develop, it starts to work on its own way. So, I mean, the patients who are currently, hello. So the patients who are formerly, exposed to the COVID virus, their bodies acted differently. And after they have taken the shots, then they got an extra boost of immunity in them. The COVID couldn't act that way. But to a normal layman, to the person who hasn't taken a vaccine or don't know what are the effects of the COVID virus, if even the lower dormant form of the COVID virus gets inside him or her, then it is a totally different thing. The body won't understand how to react to it. Like,
it's I think the whole thing. I think
the
whole COVID thing it's just been completely scary to everyone, because it's not, it doesn't affect everyone in exactly the same way, does it? And that's one thing that we've learned throughout this pandemic. It can really vary from person to person.
And I would like to, as a precautionary measure, I would definitely like to say this, that elderly person more than 70 years of age, number one, and number two is the kids below 14 wait, let me 13 plus, yeah, below 13 plus and above 70 years old, those are the ones who have to take precautions the most.
See, we're not seeing that in the UK though, Ronnie, because actually our children are actually classed as probably the safest. So absolutely 70 plus, our elderly are considered our vulnerable, but our children are back in schools. They have been for quite a while now. There's not really any, I've not heard any talk or anything yet about them being vaccinated. So in the UK, children are probably the safest. They may be spreaders. They may be spreaders of the disease, but they're very unlikely to fall ill from it. And that's sort of the way it's working here at the moment. I mean, again, things change so rapidly. You just never know, do you? Michael has just said, I'm living in hope that we've got over the worst of it here in Wales and onwards and upwards, back to some sort of normality, whatever that means. And I guess, nail on the head there, Michael. What is our new normal going to be? Because we're not going to be going back to any sort of resemblance of what we thought normality was over a year and a bit ago, are we? We spoke about this yesterday. I don't know about yourself, Gemma, like it's now learning to live with the COVID virus, isn't it? So much has been put on hold and whatnot. And we've had a fantastic vaccine rollout, which has probably been our saviour here. But it is a case of now trying to live as best as we can and as, normal as we can with the virus around, because it isn't going anywhere. We speak about COVID a lot on these tea and toast sessions, and sometimes I think, gosh, it's all we talk about. But I guess it's just been the hugest thing for everybody going on for the past year and a bit. And
absolutely,
although it's slowed down a bit at the moment, a while ago, every day when you wake up, there was something new in the news, wasn't there? Some sort of difference and whatnot. But something else that happened this week, which Georgia was going to tell us about. So the Queen, old Queenie, she did what was it she did?
Yeah, so she's done a speech, I think. I don't know if she's actually, because I don't really watch the Queen's speeches. I know this year you didn't watch them either, did you, Jasmin? No, but so she's kind of announced, what she does is like bills, like kind of laws, they go through like Parliament and then I believe the House of Lords. And then at the end, once it's passed all of that, the Queen then kind of signs off on it. And then she'll like announce it and say, oh, now it's the bill for so-and-so. So it's not necessarily what she wants.
It's decided.
It's more like she's kind of signed off on it because that's her duty as the Queen to do so. So part of the laws or the bills that are going through, I wanted to get your guys' sort of opinion on it, is the high-speed rail bill, which would give powers to build and operate the next stage of the HS2 project in the Northwest. So I don't know if you guys have heard of HS2.
I have no idea what that means.
Is HS2 the train that they're like cutting down loads of stuff to make way for, to make it shorter for London?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're kind of, I don't know how to say this diplomatically. They are doing stuff that's bad to nature in order to create this sort of railway to, make it easier for people to travel to and from cities and towns and stuff. But yes, I agree, Laura. So Laura just said, yes, HS2 train is a waste of money. So yes, I agree. And so locally, there's actually been a campaign to save the woods. I think it's called Weekly Hall or Weekly Meadows, something like that. They had this like massive campaign with Extinction Rebellion because they were trying to basically cut down and destroy all the woodland that's supposed to be sort of like protected. So I wanted your guys' sort of opinion on that.
Wow. Sam, what do you think?
Personally, I think it's quite ridiculous because they're spending millions and millions on it. And they're saving 20 minutes to go to London, and they're destroying nature in the process, and for a shorter trip. And I mean, we've recently had that whole thing about it. Like, kids are starving in this country, and they want to make a railway and have a shorter trip. That's just ridiculous.
I agree with Zan. I mean, I'd never heard of it until today. Sometimes I wonder where I'm living sometimes. Some of the things I've never heard of, I'm like, I'm in a little bubble of my own. I don't know what's going on in the world. I'd never heard of it, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, to save 20 minutes on a journey and the amount of money and the damage it's doing to our environment seems bonkers to me.
Yeah, it really does. And the only way that they can kind of stop it is by, having petitions and sort of campaigning. And I think sometimes there's quite extreme lengths that people have to go to. I think I saw a picture of someone like lying down in like on a path where there was like a bulldozer type thing. So like really extreme, or like chaining themselves to the trees and things like that to try and save the land. But I mean, like, we have such a limited amount of space in the UK that's kind of free for us to kind of wander in, and sort of public, belongs to the public. And so it seems like a real shame that they're kind of destroying that, because because I mean, a lot of the land is privately owned, and you can't just like hang out there, you know what I mean, because it's someone else's land. Go on, Zan.
I was going to say, another problem I find of it is that like you say, it's all private land, but it was public footpath. The thing is, years ago, that was never private land. Who claimed it in the first place? And now people are buying it off them because, it was handed down. But no, these are just fields and fields that were never doing anything, that people have just claimed, and then it's been passed down, and now they're buying it, and we have no power. And it's completely unfair.
Yeah.
I think Ronnie was going to say something too.
Something similar like this happened to us also in Himachal Pradesh. They called it the Chipko movement. Like Georgia said, the local tribals over there in the hills, the trees are being cut in large numbers, like some cubic feet or something like that. Like there was a limited amount of space allotted to it, and they were cutting down trees by the hundreds, and they were providing rail tracks just to move the cargo from the hills to the plains. And also this has extended to West Bengal also, like in the Duars region where we have natural rainforests over there. They usually do a spring cleaning type of thing before the rainy season. They just burn the trees that are lining the roads, so that when we experience storms, and you will find this occurring naturally, like where there are very old trees, the trees those are long. I'm sorry, I'm a bit tongue twisted over here. So when lightning strikes, forest fires occur frequently. So what they do to avoid this, the older trees, those are lined up beside the roads, they put a fire. They light fire so that the leaves and all that, the barks and all that, they get residued just beside the roads. And when the rainy season comes, they act as a natural manure kind of thing, so that new trees can grow. But due to some either political activities or for the so-called improvements in transportation, they have been illegally cutting down trees, and for that many elephants died, like because they're in the forest. It is the natural habitat of elephants. Then some cheetahs, perhaps, no, they are called leopards. Leopards. Some leopards. Then we have got bisons in there. So they
really
usually
sad.
they don't take their different path. They just walk in the same paths they used to take. And what happens is that the trains are coming in full speed, the cargo trains. They In the passenger trains, there is a difference between cargo and passenger trains. I mean, the cargo trains have more load in them. So like if a passenger train breaks at a point, puts the brake, say it will take 10 to 20 meters to stop.
Yeah.
But if a cargo train is running on full speed, it will take at least 50 to
Yeah, it'll
60
take much
meters.
longer.
Yeah, it takes much longer. So, and they have a speed limit, but they don't follow the speed limit here, like
No.
80 or 90 or something like that. They are not supposed to drive at that speed.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do, it was really heart rendering. You know, I saw just in the Bengali newspaper today, uh, some elephants with a kid elephant with her, the mother elephant, and they were crossing the railway track. So what the train
Run
driver
over.
did, he saw it like 100 meters away, and he put the brakes. He didn't put the brake on time, so the mother elephant crossed the tracks, and she was helping the baby elephant to cross the tracks with a trunk, and the baby elephant got injured. It didn't die,
Oh, that's a
thankfully.
shame.
It
Yeah.
got injured, like they crashed it, and then the train went away, and it lost a foot. But thanks to the forest department, they came to the aid just 10 minutes after that, and then they tended to the baby elephant, and
And
he
did they
was
survive
named.
them? Did they
Yeah, it
survive?
it it survived, but it has got a prosthetic leg.
Oh,
Oh.
The
shame.
elephant has got a different kind of prosthetic leg. It looks kind of brownish kind of
Yeah.
thing, but
But they
animals are
managed to
not.
keep it alive, so that's always a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, yes. So that's why I
Yeah,
brought it over here, because I don't want to say any negative things, only positive vibes.
yeah,
So the
absolutely. Yeah,
animals, and after that, there was a huge movement brought out by on the part of a community,
yeah.
the government committee. They held out a committee, and they said that it is not right, and any train driver who are gonna drive trains through the woods, they
Mm,
have to stick to the norms, otherwise they are gonna get fired.
yeah.
They're definitely gonna get fired from the duties. They won't get any pensions,
Yeah.
because in the government jobs we get pensions, so they won't get any pension. And the after retirement, after retirement, the benefits that they get, so they
Well, that's
won't be
good
getting all
then.
that.
Yeah, that's good that they've
So
put those things in
that would
place to
teach
try
them.
and try and make sure that that doesn't happen again, because obviously no one wants to see any animal getting injured because of
No.
Yeah.
uh
And also one
train.
thing, Jasmine, I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
We have been discussing all the bad sorts of things about COVID, but I think we have forgotten a vital thing over here. Since we have put restrictions on ourselves, we have let nature run its full course.
Mm,
So the nature is
yeah.
more vibrant than ever. Like, we didn't even have a week long rain before the rainy season. It is even rainy season over here. Rainy season is in June or July, and
Mm,
it's like May. So rainy season has come on earlier. The animals, they have come out in the highways. They are
mm,
feeling much more comfortable, since there is a lack of human interference in the nature. There is
yeah.
a lack of human interference in the nature, so they are gonna
Oh,
feel like, oh, what the hell did
yeah.
happen?
Yeah. Well, I
What
mean, well,
happened?
actually,
Sorry
Ronnie,
for my language. Yeah.
that's okay. A few weeks ago, in one of Georgia and I's tea and toast sessions, we did speak about it's really easy to just hang on all the negative with COVID, but there has
Yeah.
been a few positives, although sometimes it feels hard to believe so. But the difference in to our environment, and
Yes.
the reduction of cars on the road, and what was that? Georgia, can you remember that something, a fact about some sort of animal that we found that had happened?
Oh, I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but I'm gonna just pick up the first one that came to my head.
Yeah.
So in Venice, the dolphins had returned to the canals. So they'd left for like years and years and years, because obviously there's all people like knocking about and all the pollution and everything. And yeah, they came back to Venice for the first time in like donkey's years. So yeah, that was like a really positive outcome. I think, Zan, were you about to say that you'd heard about that as well?
Yeah, I'd heard about that a while ago. It was great because of the lack of pollution, the lesser amount of pollution, the waters had cleared up loads. You could see all the fish everywhere, and that's when you saw the dolphins return. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and that's definitely makes you realise, you know, just by the normal world, you know, the normal life we're living, the amount of pollution and whatnot, and to see that change. Because sometimes it is hard to take any positives from COVID because it's affected us all so greatly, hasn't it? And just before we wrap up for this morning, I just really wanted to mention, we speak about it a lot, but I just think it's really important. It's Mental Health Week this week. And mental health is something that we talk about all the time at the Yards, because we don't believe that there should just be 1 week of the year that you talk about it, because mental health is just so very important, and probably at the moment more so than ever. You know, I think another factor coming out of the COVID pandemic is there's going to be a huge knock on people's mental health, and even from the younger children right all the way up to elderly. And it's just really important that people feel it's like, you know, it's okay to talk about your mental health. It's okay to not be okay. Because I think a big problem is that people feel embarrassed and feel like they can't admit to not being okay. Zan, what do you think? Are you comfortable talking about mental health?
Yeah, I can definitely see how the lockdown has affected many of us, and I've seen friends personally where it's hit them harder because where they haven't got such great relationships with their families and haven't been able to go and socialize with their friends, because like normally they're at school, they're surrounded by their mates, and then suddenly they're trapped at home with for some people it's all right because they've got loved ones, but others who don't have such great relationships with those family members, it doesn't go so well. Also, another thing I've noticed during the pandemic that I think Bianca said about is how there's been a rise in like people who have had tics. Like personally, I've got a friend in Kent who I've only actually known online, but even her during this thing, she started ticking as well. And I think it's all because of that isolation.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people also, are nervous about, we got thrown into this world of being quite isolated and being in our little bubbles, and now everything's opening up, which for some of us is great, but for some people this is actually now quite worrying because they became okay in their little bubble and that all became sort of the norm for them. So I've spoken to people recently over the past week who are scared about everything reopening and not so sure that they're ready for it. So yeah, you know, there's just so many different emotions and feelings going on at the minute. And, you know, I think it's really important. Check on your friends, check on people, be that sort of sounding ear if you can be. And if you are struggling, speak out, get in touch, because there's always someone to listen to. And it's, you know, I just always think it's nothing to be embarrassed about. We all suffer with mental health. And I've spoke loads on here, you know, I had many, you know, I suffer with anxiety, depression, I have insomnia. So, you know, people can seem okay on the outside, but not on the inside. So I just want us all to, you know, keep checking on each other.
Be kind.
Yeah, be kind. Absolutely. We're all, you know, we're all fighting a battle other people don't know about. So let's all be kind to each other. Yeah. Right then, on that note, we are going to call it a morning. Thank you. What a morning. So we've gone from Gemma talking all about the Hope Centre. We've had Ronnie on the harmonica. Zan telling us all about his
duck
stuff.
ceramics.
His lucky ducks through his... Yeah, there we go. His lucky duck. And Georgia and I just, you know, thinking, wow, what a crazy morning. But thank you, everyone. Thanks so much, Gemma, for coming down. Well, not coming down, really, just coming online and watching us. It's been great to have you. And we know now when we get any of our people in, we can direct them, we can signpost them to you guys at the Hope Centre, which is really great. So thank you. Ronnie, pleasure as always. Thank you for joining us.
The pleasure is mine.
And totally mine. I'm sure we will be seeing you next week. No musical instruments next week, okay?
All right. All right.
I'm only joking. Zan, thank you for coming along to your first tea and toast. We loved having you this morning, and I'm hoping you're going to come back for some more next week.
Yeah.
And Georgia, great morning, great chat. Have we got any gaming? Is there any gaming going on today, Georgia?
Yeah, so this week, I don't know if any of you who've been watching have heard, but I've been taking over the Twitch channel. So every day at noon, I'll be playing Hitman 3 and running away from people and throwing like Coke cans at people's heads and stuff. So all that good stuff that you get from games. So yeah, tune in at 12 and watch us on our Twitch channel if you want to get involved.
And then if you're feeling a bit crafty, we have got the Curator Educator with Crafternoon this afternoon at 3:00. So please join in with that if you'd like to. If not, have a great rest of the day, people, and we will see you all very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.